Met my wife 92, we got married, and for about the first 2 years we hung around in Oregon, and then we got this urge to go see family and friends. She was born in New Hampshire and spent 20 years in New Hampshire, 20 years in Texas, and I was born in Michigan, and I moved out here in '84, and then we married in '92. But the funny part was, she has this distinct New Hampshire, Texas accent. People always ask her, where are you from? Because in New Hampshire, they don't say they don't say area, they say area. Okay, and in Texas, it's fixin' to. So she'll say those things in a sentence, people go, what? What accent do you have? Where are you from? And I didn't know I had a Michigan accent until I was out here for a while, then went back to Michigan and realized, yes, we do talk different back there. It's not quite the same. But anyway, so this narrative is about one of those trips we take. We got in a tradition about every other year, we would take a Michigan trip or a Texas trip, and some years we do both. And this year we went from Oregon to Michigan to Texas to Reno and then home. So we traveled 8,000 miles in 3 weeks in our car. And this is what we did. On Friday, June 7th, we made it to Burns and spent the night. Saturday morning, we went out of Burns. I made the wrong turn, went 16 miles the wrong way, going south instead of east, and came to a place called Crane. And they said, oh, just go back up on this road. You'll be a little further down M20 and it'll be closer to Ontario, where we've had to pick up 84. So anyways, I get back on M20, I'm riding just in time to hit about 100 herd of cattle drive. So we had to stop the car and let all these cows go by. Okay? It's really cool to watch cattle being driven by people on horseback and blue heeler dogs. And I never knew this, my son had to tell me this, that the reason blue heelers are used for cattle drives because they're really short, so the cows don't kick them. They're so short they miss them every time they try to kick them. And what they actually do is they nip at the cow's hoofs, and I never knew this. But it was really cool to watch how they just control these cattle. Well, while these cattle were crossing, this one lady, in just filthy chaps and the whole thing because she was working, she looked up and looked at me, and you could tell by looking at her that she was from India. Okay, there's no way you wouldn't know. So I kind of smiled, I waved at her, and she smiled back and showed the whitest teeth I'd ever seen in my life. And as we were driving away, I looked at Lane and I said, you know what? I can imagine this now. Somewhere in India, the newspaper ad said, want to be a cowboy? Come to Oregon. So we made it to Indiana on Monday night to see my son, Monday afternoon. He went out to dinner and all that stuff and came home. And he has 3 dogs. His nearest neighbor has 3 dogs. His nearest neighbor is about 7, 8 houses away because it's open out there where he's in the country, and there's probably no other neighbors around, which is a good thing. None of the dogs have any training at all. So he has 1 puppy named Tori, which is a year-old boxer, and 2 adult dogs. And the neighbor has 2 puppies and 1 adult dog, and the puppies love to play. So they're trying to round the dogs up, and they don't listen. And my son's dog's up on the hill, and he says, Tori, get back here. And the dog goes, I'm going over here. And that's it. Well, finally he corrals the dog, and he's carrying the dog back, and the neighbor's got his 2 puppies in his arm. He's got them. My son puts the dog inside the house and figures that's it. Sits on the porch, grabs his beer just in time to see Tori went out the back door because they left the door open. And as soon as the other puppy saw it, they got loose and they had to go get him again. So no training whatsoever. Anyway, so the really wonderful thing about Indiana was drinking a beer at night with my son, watching the fireflies, and hearing cows move in the distance. I really loved it. I missed the fireflies in Michigan and that. So anyways, the next day we took off and we saw 3 friends. We saw friends in south of Grand Rapids and then Grand Rapids, Michigan. Spent the night in Cedar Springs, another dog story. My best friend in high school, he played drums, I played guitar. We had a band and all this stuff. And they have a Sheltie named Buddy. And Buddy's like a little old man. Exactly 8 o'clock every night, Buddy does this little dance. And it means that he wants to go to bed. They open the bedroom door, and he goes on his doggy bed, and you don't see him till 7 in the morning. And they said he does this every single night. I think that's just adorable that there's a dog that has a sense of timing. You know? So anyway, so we made it to there, and then from there we went up and saw my little sister. And can you see what town this is? Ludington. Yeah, this is Ludington, Michigan, and it's on the west side of the Lower Peninsula. And there's a lighthouse and all this stuff. So we went to Ludington and spent a few days with my little sister and played around and stuff like that. Well, then we had to have, oh, I forgot to tell you one thing. Driving across country, when we hit Iowa and Nebraska, there were deer strewn all over the expressway. Every other mile, there was a dead deer. They were everywhere. And we thought, oh my gosh, this is just terrible. And we get to Indiana, where my son's from, we didn't see a deer at all. And we thought, they killed them all. They're gone. No tear, right? Just before, oh.